What is going on, Raptors Nation? It is Luca here, back with another video. And unfortunately, I'm back with another Raptors loss. The Toronto Raptors lose to the Brooklyn Nets, and this was a bad loss. I mean, the loss against the Cavs was frustrating. I'm classifying this as just a bad defeat. Raptors going up against the Nets, who obviously had more to play for in terms of in-season tournament implications. And the Raptors did not put forth a good effort in this one. I mean, this is a Brooklyn Nets team that came into this one ahead of the Raptors in the overall standings, occupying that last play-in spot. And if the Raptors want to even be a part of the play-in equation, they're going to have to beat better than teams like the Brooklyn Nets. And I mean, this was just, it was tough to watch. We're going to talk about it. Hit a like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new for more content over here on the Raptors Nation YouTube channel. So, the Brooklyn Nets end the first half on a 15-0 run. That gave the Nets the lead. Raptors battled back with a good third quarter, outscoring the Nets 31-24. And then the Brooklyn Nets end the game on another massive run. They outscore the Raptors 39-28 in that fourth quarter. Raptors giving up 39 points in the final frame, the most points they let up in a quarter in this game, and they lose 115-103. As you look at the stats in this one, guys, the Raptors shot the ball terribly. 38% from the field to the Nets' 44.9. The Raptors were 13 of 36 from three for 36%. What's crazy is the Brooklyn Nets actually shot worse from three than the Raptors at 34%. But then another thing here, I mean, I'm beating a dead horse. I feel like I'm talking about this every single game. Free throw shooting. I don't know what it is. The Raptors cannot hit their damn free throws. They not only struggled from the field, they not only struggled from deep, but they struggle from the line once again. 12 and 19 from the free throw line, 63%. You know, those 7 makes would make a big difference, especially when this game was tight in the fourth quarter. Raptors got out-rebounded plus 13. The assists, Raptors were plus 1. Total turnovers, Raptors actually did a good job in this one, not turning it over. They only had 7 turnovers. The Nets actually had 15. But then the Nets, 50 points in the paint to the Raptors, 34. Nets largest lead, 15. Raptors largest lead, 7. And I mean, down the stretch, let's talk about this game down the stretch. So many makeable baskets missed by the Raptors. I know Barnes missed a few there. And I mean, speaking of Barnes, I missed the Scotty Barnes we saw in the first 7 games, guys. He struggled mightily from the field in this one. 17 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. You know what you're going to get from Barnes. He's going to fill up the stat sheet. But 5 and 19 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3. Not to mention, to me, he looked disinterested in that first half. He was a minus 22, a couple of bad misses there late. Scotty Barnes, I don't know what's going on right now. Maybe, you know, it's a matter of Darko not utilizing him properly, or, you know, Scotty not even being played for the whole quarter, and I'll get to that in just a minute here. But, you know, I miss the Scotty Barnes that was aggressive. I miss the Scotty Barnes that was efficient. And right now, you know, he's just in a little bit of a bad rut that you hope he can get out of. But, I mean, this isn't just on Barnes, guys. The Raptors collectively shot terribly. I mean, Pascal Siakam, 17 points, 6 of 18 from the field. Can he stop shooting threes, please? He's 0 of 4 from 3. Like, Siakam should just not even consider taking a 3 again. I don't know what's gone into him, but this was a guy who used to be able to hit that 3 ball with consistency, and it's been abysmal this season. OG, 4-12 from the field. Jakob Poeltl came into this game with the highest field goal percentage within 8 feet of the basket. He was 3 of 5. Dennis Schroeder struggled. He got hurt, was able to check back in. Took a couple of bad shots, I felt, late in this one. 5 of 15, 2 of 5. Chris Boucher did a good job in the minutes that he was given. Boucher, 13 points, 5 of 7 from the field. McDaniels, 5. Flynn, 2 of 5, 5 points. Gary Trent Jr. did put together another nice game. Precious Achiuwa is becoming borderline unplayable. I mean, he was awful in this one. He had 1 point in 10 minutes, so many mistakes, so much sloppiness out there. I mean, if he continues to play like this, it's hard to keep Precious in the rotation. Brooklyn countering with Bridges, who had 22. You know, you had Dinwiddie, who had 23. Royce O'Neal was huge for the Nets. From off the bench, he had 18. He had 6 3-pointers made. It's going to come down to the small details, the little things. And I feel like the Raptors didn't execute properly late, missed a lot of makeable baskets. Their defense was just suspect in this one. And, as a result, the Raptors lose a game that they really needed to win to get back to 500. And now the Raptors are 8-10. And one more thing I wanted to say, talking about the whole Barnes thing, is I'm not a fan of Darko Rajakovic taking Barnes out of the game at the 5-minute point in the fourth quarter, especially when the game is tight. Like, that literally backfired against Boston not too long ago. And Barnes was actually starting to feel it. He hit a big time three, Raptors in the game. You take Barnes out for a quick rest, but then when you bring him back in, you're essentially sucking his momentum. And we saw when Barnes checked back in, he wasn't the same. I mean, he was struggling to get his shot to fall. In a game like this, you need your best players on the court when it's literally a close, tight, one possession game. And I just don't like the decision that Darko makes when he takes Barnes out of the game at that 5-minute mark. You got to play your best guys. So I hope we don't continue to see it. But, this is another example where Darko did it and it backfired. I mean, that wasn't just the reason the Raptors lost this game, but I believe it contributed to Barnes then coming in cold. This thing might be starting to unravel for the Raptors. I mean, you talk about just a frustrating loss against Cleveland, a game that they could have easily won, couldn't get it done on the road here against the Nets, losing the way that they did. I mean, Brooklyn isn't a good team, guys. Like, I made a joke on X. This was the battle of mid. Like, Brooklyn's not going to be a playoff team, and the Raptors struggled against them. So that just shows you that the Raptors are a ways away. And, they got Phoenix tomorrow. Who knows, with this crazy season, they might end up beating Phoenix. But if they don't, all of a sudden, Raptors losing 3 in a row. You got New York on Friday, and, 2 games under 500. This thing could start going south. And, you look at some of the Raptors' wins this season, too. They beat Chicago, who are an absolute mess right now. They beat the Wizards, who are a mess. And they beat the Spurs, who are a mess. So 3 of their 8 wins are actually against very, very bad teams. So, I mean, this is a team that they're not playing good basketball right now. Just to, put it as real as possible. Like, this is a team that is not looking like a competent basketball team. And they just have these bad stretches where they just look flat out ugly, whether it's a scoring drought, whether it's their defense stops playing, or, they miss easy baskets like we saw there in the final 2 minutes of this one, just miss after miss. It feels like that's been that type of season where we have seen this team show some promise. I'm not going to say it's been all bad. I mean, they do have 8 wins after all, but there's been a lot of moments that we have seen from this Raptors team this season where it has looked flat out bad. So we will see how this team continues to look from here on out. But guys, we're approaching the 20-game point of the season. And 20 games in is usually a really good representation of how a team's going to look, with the odd exceptions, of course, of teams that do make a run. But 8-10, 18 games in, 3-6 away. They're going to go home to take on the Suns. I mean, these next 2 games, it's going to dictate a lot, I think. I mean, you're going to have the Suns, going to be tough even if KD doesn't go. It's going to be the second night of a back-to-back for the Raptors. And then that Knicks game is going to tell a whole ton as well, because, I mean, the Raptors are going to have to beat teams like the Cavs, the Nets, the Knicks, if they even want to entertain the idea of being a playoff team, let alone a playing team. And I mean, if they just come out flat like they did against the Nets and don't win these games, then it's not looking good for this Raptors team in the long term. So we will see how they respond, but this was just another one of those bad defeats from the Toronto Raptors, and they got a lot of self-reflecting to do after this one. Raptors Nation, what was your reaction to this one? How do you think this team is going to respond, and what are your overall thoughts of the Raptors 18 games in? Let me know your thoughts, guys. Hit a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Plus, ring the bell for more. That is it for me. This is Lucas signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe.